Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the love and support on our very first YouTube video. Thank you all so much. So today's video we're going to talk about our experience moving from the Caribbean to the UK, specifically from Anguilla, because you know that's our hometown.
So Risa has moved here a couple years before I did, and our experiences were different. So Risa is going to speak up about her experiences, and I'm going to speak about mine.
And if you want to hear about our experiences, stay tuned.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hi guys. So like we were saying, this is about our experience moving to the UK. So the first thing that I had to think about when I was moving to the UK was my housing situation. Where was I going to live? But luckily for me, I was moving with my cousin. Her name is Curly. So she came a month prior to us. Now, moving to the UK, you gotta be careful with the scammers. There's more scammers than people in this country. No offense.
Scammer than there.
So we initially paid for this house. And like I said, we got scammed. So 2 days before I was supposed to arrive is when she actually got the house. Luckily that she was here, she was able to go and view many houses. And I don't mean like 10 houses. I mean Carly literally viewed almost 150 houses until she settled with one that was big enough for us, because my sister was also coming along to have her baby. That's one of the other reasons why I moved to the UK when I moved to the UK as well. How was your housing experience?
My housing experience was a little bit different because they already had a house here, so it was a bit easier for me to move. And knowing that made my move from the transition much easier.
Okay. But why did you actually want to move?
I actually wanted to move from Anguilla because I started to ask myself, am I living or am I just existing? And I tried to weigh the pros and cons of it being in Anguilla, and it just wasn't working out. I mean, I had a job, I had a full-time job, but with that full-time job, it was working shifts. So I was unable to have a second job. So
I even just have a life. But you moved after Hurricane Irma, which...
And Hurricane Irma, I used to just sit on my gallery because we didn't have no electricity and just think. And I was just like, I just here working, getting paid X amount. Everybody know that salary. I was getting paid X amount and I had to pay for my car. I had a school loan. I still had to put gas in my car and I still had to eat. And when you look at the amount of money that you had left, you could have barely saved. So I was like, okay, Risa living in England. Okay, Carly living in England. An extra room here. I went inside a couple months after I thought about it. I was speaking to my sister Arlette. I said, Arlette, what do you think about me moving to England? Arlette, you watched me twice. She said, girl, go. When she said, girl, go, I draft up a resignation letter on my phone. I didn't have a printer at home. I printed it where I had access to a printer, and I got that printed. Okay, handed in. Everybody was like, why are you leaving? Where are you going? You got a job. I said, that's it. That's just existing.
Yeah, there's more to life than just going to work and having a job. For me, the actual day that I left, it's a funny story. Like, there was such a calm and peace when I was leaving. My flight was actually at 3 o'clock and we left Angola at 12. Can you imagine the peace that I was in, like the state of mind that I was in when we was coming? So to get to the main airport, I have to leave from Angola to go to St. Martin. The boat that I was on...
You had the real airport then?
Yeah. The boat that I was on caught fire. And I mean like literal fire. And everyone on the boat was like, oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! And I was like, this is gonna be fine. The Lord is not gonna stop me from making it to my flight.
Yes,
and I got to the airport on time, took my flight, and no, I hate flying. But there was such a, I don't know, a calm that came over me that I just enjoyed my flight, enjoyed my time, and my plane ride was smooth as ever. And when I landed, I knew that I had some place to go. So if you're moving, just make sure that you have your housing situated. If you're moving to the England, there is places like Gumtree, Spare Room, Airbnb that you come and you check it out. I won't rent right away because you want to look, because housing in the UK is completely different to Anguilla, and I just mean completely different. Like the room is the size of a shoebox, but you got to make that shoebox work if you want to get your dreams. Okay, so
my flight, when we was coming up here, we went, number one, the airport was just like a big aluminum tin. Very hot. No Wi-Fi. Had to load music on a big old laptop. Okay. Gone on the plane now, reached to Atlanta. Okay, I think we rushing for our connecting flight. Bacchanal now, line stop. Whole line stop. Airport shut down, nothing working.
That was during the snowstorm.
The TSA network was just not working. I just sit down. Okay, we reached now past TSA. Put me in a room. 5 minutes sitting down for no reason. Miss our flight now. Gone to Delta counter. Delta was just yapping. Basically, long story short, we was nearly on the airport for 2 days. We had to sleep on our carry-ons, but on a little.
Yeah.
But best thing about it, the mats was smooth and it wasn't dirty. We had a little blanket, so that was alright. 2 days now, moved to England. Oh, before that, I have to tell you guys, when you come in, pack lightly, because that's another thing. Before I left, I had a heavy suitcase. My sister Arlette, where you moving to England with so much clothes that you're not gonna need? And I was glad that I listened to her, because no sooner than I came here, it got really cold, and I didn't have. When I look in my suitcase, I didn't have any clothes that could have withstand this weather. So I was glad that I still, didn't pack a lot.
Okay, so that's our journey, like the initial start of housing. So something when you move to the UK, when you're trying to get a job, or even registered to get a bank account. Let me talk about getting a bank account.
You gotta come up here as well with money. Don't think you can come up here with $0 or £0 and make it. When I was coming, I made sure I had enough saved for at least 2 months rent, and I was glad I did that, because I didn't get a proper job until after like the 3rd month. And with jobs here, don't think that you're gonna come up here and get the same exact job or do the same exact thing that you used to do in Anguilla. Sometimes you have to compromise. The first job I got here was working in a hotel, and the good thing about moving from Anguilla to here at this age, I was able to still have skills that we in Anguilla might take for granted, but it's skills that we have that we could use over here. I was working in a hotel full time, but I knew that wasn't where I wanted to be. But I wanted to still have money, because I was up here basically taking care of myself. I saved, but while working full time on my breaks and every chance that I got, I applied to every single job that I qualified for. Total Jobs, Indeed, every single job website, and every time I used to just check my emails to see if I had interviews. I used to schedule my off days every Wednesday, and I used to always make it a priority to have an interview or 2 every Wednesday.
Yeah, that was luckily for me. Well, I went to interviews, but I didn't really want to work because I just stopped working in Anguilla, and I just wanted a break for myself, and I wanted to pick out something that I wanted to do, try something new. And I've always been in hospitality or finance. So my first job was also working inside of a hotel. I started out waitressing, and as soon as I didn't want to do waitressing anymore, I refreshed my CV and I was like, I'm good at finance, and I started doing payroll. And I don't even know when the transition happened that I started to manage events, just like help out another department. And within a year's time, I got moved from doing the payroll to managing, well, less than a year actually. So I was doing both of them at the same time. I was doing finance and I was managing events as well. And I'm so happy for the customer service skills that I got in Anguilla and the training that I got in Anguilla about everything and just how to deal with clients and customers.
People
because
in general.
I'm gonna tell you, the English culture,
Another thing, our skin, where we come from, our skin is very thick, and that was put to the test when I moved here. I realized that my skin is very thick. And another thing I forgot to mention, the reason why I took the job in the hotel is because most of the interviews that I went to, they were saying that I didn't have, although my CV was top notch, they were saying that I didn't have enough UK experience to get the job that I knew I qualified for. I did qualify for it on paper, but I didn't have the UK experience. So that's why I started off like that. And another thing, when you come here, you have to catch the bus. I know in Anguilla we're accustomed to just getting in our car, leaving home 7:45 to reach the work for 8 o'clock. I was working for 6. I had to be up from 4:30. Get on the bus for 5, reach to work for 5:30, sit down until 6 because I had a car. I had no other means of transportation, so I had to make it because I knew sitting down home wouldn't bring me nothing.
Not at all. Not at all. And I mean, that was like a culture shock for me as well. So in Anguilla, I just had my own car, go where I want to go, when I want to go. Like, I'm usually that person that's going to come walk 5 minutes before the time. Here, there was no doing that. It was like you have to leave an hour early to get to work. But something that I want to talk about is when you come to open up your bank account. No. To open your bank account, you need proof of address. But how do you get proof of address within 1 day? 2 weeks? There are certain things that they only accept for your proof of address. So the first thing that I did, I landed here on the 18th. The same day, I live like literally 5 minutes from a GP. I went and I registered to a GP office, and then I called the national insurance number, which is something that you do need in order to work here. But coming from Anguilla, we have a British passport which allows us to work 3 months, don't quote me, 3 to 4 months without the national insurance number. And once you got those, I was able to open up my bank account. Even then, when you open up your bank account, they're asking you how long have you been in the country. Like, there's only certain types of account that you can open. Where we come from, you just go to the bank and you say, I want to open up a savings, a whatever. I just want to open up an account. But here it's a bit different. So I'd advise anybody, when you come here, as soon as you land, you find a GP, you register, you call to get your national insurance.
And don't forget, yes, that's what I was going to say. You call the same day or online to make your NI number interview right away. Because if you even get a job, they're going to tell you that you're going to only have 3 months to work without the national insurance number. And another thing that people might not understand when moving here, when you have your first job, you're going to be emergency taxed. So if you do see that, don't go arguing with an employer or, make a big muck about it, because it does happen. Yeah. Just do a bit more reading and a bit more research.
That's correct. That's honestly correct. And then something else that you should get as well is to have ID. Yes, your Anguilla license is a valid ID, but it doesn't have the biometric scan inside of it. So
I waited a year before I got one. Don't believe me.
So I would say get your provisional license. It's like 60 quid. It's 60 pounds. So I would save
35,
money.
35? Yeah,
35. Sorry.
Recently got my 35.
So you get your provisional license, and that has the biometric scan. And the good thing about that, it is also has on your address on it until you get your full driving license. That's a whole nother debacle getting your license here. But that's for another video.
Another great advantage why I moved to the UK is because I was able to see the outer world more. I was able to travel. I was able to work. Another thing I forgot to mention, I have 3 jobs. The job in the hotel, when I got my other job, I didn't give that up. I was full-time, I went part-time. Then on my main job, that was sitting down. The hotel job was on a weekend, so I was like, all this sit down energy I could turn into money. So I went out and I got a third job. So I was able to save my main paycheck, save the other two to travel. By doing that, I was able to travel to Amsterdam, Barcelona, Paris, and Italy by just saving. But you guys are gonna have to stay tuned to our part 2, where we have loads of other things to discuss, because there's a lot of things that you should know that people won't really tell you. And another thing, if you are moving here, make sure that the person, if you're staying by someone, that you and the person are going to get along in the long run, because I've seen many people move here and end up homeless or end up struggling way more than they should have to, because somebody gave them sell them a dream. Oh, move over here, you could get X, Y, and Z. Most of it is not true. They just want you to come, but people, you don't overstay a welcome, because most times people get really annoyed and then they start to act a different way. But there's many ways that people could show you that they want you to leave your house, their house, but before they tell you that, try to get yourself in a better position.
Well, for me, I've never experienced that, because you have a different set of friends than I have. So I've lived with the same people and I live with my family, and the good thing about it is that I've lived with Carly I've lived with her, know her for all of my life. Even if we have a disagreement, even if we have a so stupid. As I was saying, I didn't have that experience because I live with people who I've lived with, know all of my life. So even if we have a disagreement, it's not gonna be more than 2 minutes or 2 hours the longest, because at the end of the day, that is my cousin, that's my family.
When she dropped that scarf for the door, that was more than two minutes.
Well, but you get what I'm saying. But in a part 2 of the video, I'm gonna give you guys some tips, things that you need to take into consideration. So if you're moving, all of these tips that you can literally look up in research.
So stay tuned for part 2, guys. Remember, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can also leave in the comments what ideas, what you would like us to see, what you would like us to speak about next, or what challenges, any ideas that you may have. Give us feedback. And don't forget to follow us on our social media at gumsgirls_264. You can also follow me on Instagram at Shen_264 as well.
I don't have any socials at
the moment.
Coming soon.
Working on it.
Bye.
Bye.